I had moved to Vegas in the hopes that I had finally found a place that suited me, that did not pretend to be anything other than its surface. But the people ruined it for me. On the weekends, I would sit in a strip club at the edge of the city, staring at one pole dance routine after another. The idea of physical intimacy with another human being seemed totally alien to me. Every so often, I needed a reminder of this feeling. During the week, I would wander Death Valley with a man who claimed to be the descendant of a Mojave chief. He taught me how to hunt bobcat and endure 120-degree heat. I had discovered his 1-month wilderness intensive on a popular survivalist blog, but I do not find solace in the community of those obsessed with preparing for the apocalypse. For many years now, I have been in search of absolute solitude, to match the loneliness I feel in the company of others. Surfing the web one night, I discovered the place that seemed to be the answer to my desire. Two weeks later, I was on a boat to Tunisia. Forgotten how much the sea soothed my total being. The rhythmic crashing of waves against the hull lulls me into a blissful trance-like state. I had happened upon the mention of a sprawling, abandoned resort town constructed deep in the Sahara Desert sometime in the mid-70s. It was called Ukbar Palace Resort, and from the start its existence had been a well-guarded secret of the elite. Having earned its title, the Vegas of the Maghreb, its architecture ranges from mock Persian temples to Ottoman bathhouses to the sham ruins of Carthage. But the resort did not last long. One commenter alleged that its closing had something to do with the fact that the whole town had been erected on dangerously unstable foundations. Less than 5 years after its construction, it was totally abandoned. I obsessively pieced together the little fragments of info found online about the resort and constructed a rough map to its location. As I stroll along the starboard promenade, I let my thoughts happily wander. The decks are empty, and for a moment I believe I'm the only passenger on board the 100,000-ton ocean liner. The storm outside picks up force, and I am overcome with motion sickness. I sneak onto the upper deck in the hopes of spotting some far-off island on which I can rest my gaze. But when I reach the deck, I cannot see past the stacks of steel freights that line the cargo bay. I step into the boat's dilapidated ballroom, and in the corner of my eye I notice a silverfish wiggle across the parquet floor. For a second, the creature appears at the edge of my vision as a rat. The empty room becomes the eerie shell of an epidemic, the city's inhabitants wiped out by the bubonic plague. I become hypnotized by the glittering faux Victorian chandeliers, swaying back and forth, back and forth. As the boat pulls into port, I catch a glimpse of the ruins of Carthage in the distant evening fog. An announcement from the captain comes over the PA. The zealous tone of the indecipherable crackle recalls the oration of the Roman senator Cato the Elder. Whether declaring new tax policies or the expansion of Rome's sewer system, each of Cato's speeches would end with the same entreaty. Thus, Carthage must be destroyed. The next day, I board the back of a pickup truck on the way to Tatooine. My eyes become heavy, and the vibrations of the truck engine lull me to sleep. I envision Roman legions breaking through the walls, and house by house, razing the entire city to the ground, slaughtering or enslaving the remaining survivors. In the last throes of destruction, the commanding Roman general, Scipio Africanus the Younger, falls to his knees and weeps for the loss of his most worthy enemy. The bus arrives in Tatooine, and I sit at the edge of the bazaar, observing the local market life. I have a strange feeling, like I've been here before. At my hotel, I asked the concierge if he knows anything about Uqbar Palace Resort, but he has never heard of it, and it appears no one else has either. In the corner of my eye, I notice a lizard scurry across the tile floor. After a short breakfast of chickpea soup and mint tea, I follow the faint outline of a road leading into the Sahara. I had forgotten how much the billowing sand soothed my total being. In the corner of my eye, I see a scarab beetle burrow into the sand, and for a second, I fantasize what it would be like to be the last man standing, the entire planet wiped out by a great plague. After an unknown number of hours, I am overcome with heat stroke. I seek refuge in a nearby town. I sit at the edge of the bazaar, observing the local market life. At my hotel, I ask the concierge if he knows anything about Uqbar Palace Resort, but he has never heard of it. I pull out the map and follow the faint outline of a road leading into the Sahara. Around every corner, I think I have at last found the resort. But it is just the dunes taunting me. They just keep on forming and dissolving, forming and dissolving, forming and dissolving. And as the moon rises over the undulating desert, I recall the sea crashing against the hull of a ship I once took to Tunisia. I'm overcome with exhaustion and seek refuge in a nearby town. I sit at the edge of the bazaar, observing the local market life. A sandstorm sweeps across the desert. I cannot tell if what I perceive are the remains of an ancient civilization or their reproduction. The swirling sand, ceaselessly whipping against the crumbling stone walls, lulls me into a blissful, trance-like state.